Thank you for tuning in to the Post Route. Here's your host, W. Earl Kitchings.
Good evening, and good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Post Route. I'm your host, W. Earl Kitchings. As always, so happy to be with you on another Monday evening where we can talk football, quarterbacking, and many other things with our guest and some of the things that are going on in the world of football. As you know, many colleges have already wrapped up their spring games. High schools are kind of on the fence now, about to wrap up their spring games for high school football. And then in about 3 months, it will be time for football. And there's nothing like getting geared up and ramped up and ready for another exciting football season here in America, because we always got something that's new and on the purview of what may be happening that we didn't see coming. And that is the beauty of this sport, because every year somebody stands out, somebody steps up. And there's nothing like having these young men come into their own when they're playing this game of football, especially when we talk about quarterbacks. And let me tell you, there's nothing more beautiful than seeing a lot of these young men go from the high school level to the collegiate level and excel there. And then for them to get that opportunity, it's very, very, very difficult to get that opportunity to go to the next level. Of course, that is professional football. However, with there being so many leagues around the world, we have the NFL in America, the CFL in Canada, the EFL, European League of Football in Europe. There's the Germany Football League. There's the Mexican League of Football. There's the Japan League of Football. So there, and then of course there are the indoor arena football leagues, and then the UFL. So there are many opportunities for guys to find a home if they can. And it's all about their talents and their skills. And just like as we're learning in school, having a great teacher, a great mentor, someone who will guide you step by step and pour everything they have in their being, their whole book of knowledge, in order to perfect that next football player. That's what we need in this game. So we have it in coaches at all positions. And of course, there are camps and there are schools that prepare these young men for their specific position they want to play. And of course, quarterback, being that it's the iconic position on the football field, is one that requires probably more time, energy, technique, and training than any other position on the field. So with that being said, joining me tonight, one of the top quarterback gurus. And when you say you're a guru, that's beyond being just a teacher and a coach. When you're a guru, you're at the very top. So we've got one of the top quarterback gurus in America, probably on this planet, who's going to be our guest tonight. This gentleman had a stellar career when he played at Youngstown State under Coach Jim Tressel, and he led the Youngstown State Penguins to the 1991 Division I AA at that time, now the FCS, but he led them to the national championship in a thrilling comeback game. They were down by 3 touchdowns, and he brought them back, and they won the ball game and were able to win that championship. And he had a phenomenal career, 11-1 in his junior year, 12-3 in his senior year, with a national title to go with it. I'm talking about the one, the only, the outstanding, the guru of quarterbacks, Ray Isaac. Ray, welcome to the Post Route. Think we got you on mute, buddy. Think we got you on mute. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
It's a pleasure to be here, my man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Ray, you know, when I do these newsletters that I do about the quarterbacks at certain schools, or then when I get into an individual newsletter about a player, I was going back to see what I found about you, and then I found some more stuff, man. And I wanna just put up a picture real quick and let you see if you remember this one. See if you remember that picture there.
Let me see. Oh, yes, sir.
1991.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Statesboro,
sir.
Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Statesboro, Georgia.
Statesboro, Georgia. That you just come off beating Marshall. And when I found that picture, I said, man, that's Ray Isaac hoisting that trophy with his teammate. Man,
That's
I
right.
was like, man, I'm gonna flash that on him for a surprise tonight and let him see that I found one in the archive somewhere in the Vindicator. I found it in the Vindicator newspaper. So I found that picture, man. I wanted to just flash that up for everyone to see that, hey, this guy's legit.
Oh,
Number
yeah.
9. Number
That's right.
9.
That's
That's
right. That's
number.
right.
Now, Ray, did was there somebody in particular you decided to wear number 9 for? Or that was just somebody that was just a number you wanted.
Man, that's so interesting that you say that. I wore the number because of the University of Nebraska quarterback Steve Taylor. And I forgot to tell you,
Okay,
I got Steve Taylor's telephone number. Steve Taylor was the Nebraska quarterback from 1988 to 91. Or
right,
yeah, 91 or 90,
right,
91. Yep.
yeah,
He was the starting quarterback for Tom Osborne and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. You know, a lot of people thought I wore it because of Tony Rice at the time, the
there you
quarterback
go.
at Notre Dame. But no, I wore it because of number 9, Steve Taylor. He was an option quarterback. I liked this style. Interesting enough, we ended up playing in Canada with the Calgary Stampeders for a brief time, and it was a pleasure being around
Mm,
my childhood quarterback idol. He had a Porsche at the time, and
okay,
we would
okay,
go to lunch, and he would pick me up for practice. And man, it was a dream come true. And
yeah,
I just connected with him. I'm a quarterback coach for the Carolina Cobras of the arena team, and he lives a little bit off in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I'll be meeting up with him uh,
okay.
uh, in the first week of June, man.
That's great. That's great, man. But when I saw that picture, and then there was another picture where they were presenting the trophy to Coach Tressel and one of your teammates, number looked like the running back number 25, and you were kind of standing in the background. I was like, man, those are some great pictures, man. I mean, that was a man that day coming back like y'all did, man. I mean, had to be on a cloud that day, Ray.
Man, listen, we were in the pregame um, the Friday before the game,
Yeah.
and this old dude with a cowboy hat come. Listen, man, he comes out of the clouds. Literally, he's in the middle of the field. Listen, he's in the middle of the field,
Okay.
and he introduces himself to Jim Tressel, and he's an old Irk Russell assistant, and he
Okay.
says, "Listen, I watched both of you guys' game, and I watched both of you guys. You guys are the underdog." He said, "I want to play you a card trick." So he pulls out a deck of cards, and he uh, plays this game.
Right.
He puts the card in a vanilla envelope, and he says, "Do not open this envelope until after the game." He says, "The number in this envelope would have played his best game ever." And he walks off.
Okay. Okay.
His name was Doc Spurgeon, right? We
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
back, we win the game. Coach brings Doc Spurgeon in the locker room. I'm not lying about this. You ask anybody in the history of Youngstown State, this man wore all black with a cowboy hat. He opened the envelope, and before he opened the envelope, he says, "The only way y'all was gonna win this game, y'all had to show more heart, and the
Okay.
only way you was gonna win this game is this number had to play his best game." And he opened the envelope, and it was a 9 of heart. Ask Jim
Wow.
Tressel, D'Antonio, uh, ask them all. And they all, it went, the whole locker room went berserk because I threw for more yards that game and had some of the greatest throws in
Yeah.
college football history
Okay.
that game.
Okay. Okay.
I threw a ball in that game 59 yards in the air to Trent Boykin, who was just named the interim head coach at Hampton University about 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, to hear stories like that, man, and to hear, you having a phenomenal game and knowing that, everything's on the line. In the championship game, everything's on the line. There's no need in keeping in the timeouts. There's no need in not calling the best plays you can. Everybody's got to perform at the high level. And I'm just looking at the fact that you guys were down by about 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, Ray. Y'all were down in the fourth quarter, and you threw a pass that got a touchdown, and you led them on another drive for a touchdown, and you guys came back, man, like
Hey,
blockbusters and won that thing.
what's crazy is the my fullback who
Yeah.
scored the second touchdown on the comeback is Ryan Wood. Ryan Wood was one of the co-owners and the creators of Under Armour. How about that?
Wow. Man.
How
Well,
about that?
you are connected beyond connection, buddy. Let me tell you, you are connected beyond connection. So to win that game, and the previous year, Ray, you guys went 11-0 until you got to the playoffs. And gee whiz, I mean, that had to be kind of disappointing. But then to come back and you lost 3 games, and then your next 8 games, y'all went 8-0. I mean, it was a phenomenal season
Man,
your senior year, man.
listen. A couple of things. Jim Tressel has
Yeah.
the greatest integrity I've ever been around. He's one of the best people I've ever been around. And we got upset. We was ranked number 1 in America my junior year, and Central Florida came in and kicked a field goal with no time left. Sean Jefferson, who played with the
Yep.
Patriots, caught a
Yep.
bomb down the middle of the field
Yep.
late in the fourth
Yep.
quarter. But Mark Snyder was the outside linebacker coach. Mark Snyder, who generally had a tremendous coaching career under Jim Tressel and Mark D'Antonio, and has made his stops in many places. But yeah, we lost that game. But and then the next game, Jim Tressel pulls me into the office. We're 4-3. We're
Right.
preseason number 1. We lose to Delaware State 29-27 our first game. We get upset again on a Thursday night by Liberty University 10-7. And
Yep.
then we lose to the University of Akron. I do 4 interceptions to Victor Green. I tell Victor Green all the time that if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have had your stock wouldn't have rose in the NFL draft. But he ended up playing about 10 years with the New York Jets.
Okay.
And we went on. He called me in the office. He said, "Listen, if we win another game, I'm gonna have to get Nick Cochran ready for next year." I remember this conversation like crazy. He said,
Yeah.
"We have an opportunity to win the next 4 games and go to the national championship, or to go to the playoffs." We played Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern had lost a game in 46 home games. We played Georgia Southern at Georgia Southern, and I take one. Uh, it's on my Instagram post. I take one. I high step it about 43 yards down the sideline to win that game 19-17.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then Ray, you guys go the first game of the playoffs, man. Y'all in Villanova, man. Y'all battling back and forth. Y'all pull it out 17-16.
Man, listen.
Golly.
So Villanova is ranked higher than us, but they got to come to us because I don't know if you ever watched the 30 for 30, the Youngstown boys. Um,
Yeah.
I tell people all the time that when I got to Youngstown, there was only averaging 3,000 fans a game. And when I got done my senior year, they had to build another side to the stadium, and and we sold out 10 straight games,
Wow.
27,000, and
Wow.
and so the game was Villanova had to come with us, and they were the higher seed,
Yeah.
and that was one of the toughest defenses I had faced in my career. Um, but I threw a 4th and 11 to Herb Williams. If you ever go and find the game or Youngstown State 1991 highlights or on YouTube, there is a catch that Herb Williams make that is probably, I guarantee you, in the top 10 of college football history. And then Jeff Wilkins, who was the kicker for the St. Louis Rams, the greatest show on turf, who won 3 Super Bowls with them, he kicked a field goal from 49 yards. Yeah, awesome.
So that game was close. The next game you guys won, I think you won it by a couple of points.
We went
The
to Nevada, Reno. It was ranked #1.
Yeah, yeah, you played them close, and then you come off that game and you win a game 10-0, which is another close game, and then you get to the championship, man, and then you got to come from behind. I mean, y'all were like cardiac kids, man, that particular year, man, in the playoffs.
Listen, that 10-7, that 10-0 game was against Sanford. Terry
Yeah,
Bowden.
Terry Bowden.
Got a job with University of Auburn the next year. He took them 11-0. So
Yep.
we was playing against some substantial football coaches and substantial teams back in the day. But yeah, when we came back, man, we were the team of destiny, man. We were the team of destiny. I don't know if you've ever been on a team of destiny, but everything that could go wrong and could go right went
Yeah.
right. You know what I'm saying? The ball
Well,
bounced here, the ball bounced
here.
there,
Yep.
a block punt here, a block field goal there, whatever, a long pass, you name it. It happened. So I was on a team of destiny.
Well, I've seen quite a few games and teams of destiny, so you're exactly right. Now, Ray, it had to be a very honorable and humbling thing. You are from Youngstown, Ohio. That was home. You could have gone to some other places, but you elected to stay at Youngstown and play at Youngstown State, and to have the home fans rally behind you for your time at Youngstown, especially your junior and senior years, man. I mean, you had to be the toast of the town back then. I mean, your
Man, listen,
name, you could have been the mayor.
uh, I had some closed room discussions about that very thing. Man, listen, man, I could do no wrong. It probably hurt me more than it helped me. To go into restaurants, don't have to pay. Uh, you know, I did some foolish things back there, man. I was speeding, didn't think I had to pay tickets, parking my parking my car on the school line. I mean, yeah, I was a toast of the town, but I was a knucklehead too at the same time. Yeah,
Well,
I was
I,
I was arrogant, flamboyant. You know, they'll tell you I always wore suits to press conferences like Jim Tressel. Always wore a shirt and tie. Yeah, I was that dude. But I come from the neighborhood, inner city, Youngstown. At the time, Youngstown is the 14th most distressed city in America. Man, we had to bring something to the city. We had to bring some type of uh, love there. I had friends getting shot all the time, and
yeah, yeah,
and some of the tragedies are depicted on documentaries.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the Willie Flip Williams Labor Day Massacre.
Right.
A couple of my friends got killed in that thing, man, and but uh, all in all, man, I was trying to bring. We had a parade, man, in 10-degree weather with the snow coming down.
Wow.
It didn't even matter
It didn't
uh,
matter.
because we was having a parade because
Yeah.
Youngstown was on the map. And Jim Tressel always tells his offensive staff whenever I came up there, "Hey, look at this guy right here. He's the reason y'all here."
Well, no doubt about that, man. You definitely helped put them on the map. And there was a guy who played just before you. I think it was Trenton Lyles.
Trent Likes. They called him.
Likes.
They called him the general. When I got there, I had already had the nickname the Colonel, so that
Okay.
was a fitting thing. He was a drop back passer, probably way before his time. Trent
You
Likes.
think so?
Trent Likes was before his time, man. He was the quintessential play action quarterback, 3-step drop. He was before his time. If he was 8 years later, Trenton Likes, that was his name. He was out of Akron area, and Trent Likes
Okay.
was profound, man. He was big time, and he was some tough shoes to fill.
I got you. Well, I'm sure when you got to Youngstown, you kind of knew about Trenton Likes, being that you lived in Youngstown, you had to have heard about him. So yeah, you had some big shoes to fill. Hey Ray, what do you think is the reason why Ohio is such a hotbed for football talent, man? I mean, not just in Youngstown, but Akron, Toledo, Columbus, Bowling Green, Miami. I mean, the state is just full of football talent. Why do you think that is?
Man, I think that because in some of those areas, man, there's nothing to do.
Okay. Okay.
They're low income areas, and um, there's an old saying about getting it out the mud. Well, we've been getting it out the mud since the '80s. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Sure.
And we're
Sure.
hardworking guys, and we understood this. Um, we figured out, or we discovered that there was a utopia somewhere called a college campus that gave you
Okay.
free meals every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That there was a dorm room, a library, a basketball gym, a weight room, tutors for free.
For free.
For
All
free.
you gotta do, all you gotta do is get in and it's free.
All you gotta do is get in. And so there wasn't no scarcity because you had Youngstown State, Kansas State, Akron. Okay?
Right.
You had Ohio University, Ohio State, Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio. Right?
Yeah. Dayton,
Wilberforce, Toledo, right?
Central State.
Central State, Wilberforce. You had them. So you was gonna get a scholarship if
I
you was
got you.
good. And
I
then
got you.
you had University of Cincinnati, and then you
Yeah.
had Indiana and Kentucky creeping into your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
And Purdue and Lafayette. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of things going on, and a lot of things moving and shaking.
So Ray, there was a guy, and I worked with him when I was at FAMU. He used to coach at Central State. His name was Billy Joe. Did you ever have a conversation with him about coming to Central State before you made a decision to go to Youngstown?
Never had a conversation, but listen to me. Billy Joe is legendary.
Yes, sir.
Billy Joe, Jimmy, L.C. Cole, them cats are before their time. If
Okay.
there was a prime time,
Okay.
Billy Joe was prime time of his day.
I hear you.
And everybody wanted to get down to Central State. Now I did go down to Central State, but it wasn't on a recruiting trip. It was at a concert for Ice Cube and Yo-Yo. And it was the wine sip. Ohio State had the wine sip, and we traveled over to Central State, and it was so packed that they brought in the National Guard.
Wow.
There was some fighting and some police fire. And anybody who was watching this and know I'm telling the truth, that was the greatest Ice Cube concert in history.
Oh my God. Well, that was another great thing about being in college, man. You, in addition to the things you already spoke about that were free, they brought some outstanding concerts to the campuses. And man, if you could afford a ticket, man, you would get your fill of some outstanding talent that would come to these college campuses and entertain the students. Because I know in my day, to see the Commodores and Parliament Funkadelic and the Ohio Players and Earth, Wind, and Fire.
My great uncle Rudy Hubbard was the
Hold up,
head coach.
hold up, Ray. Your great uncle who?
Man, my mama's uncle is Rudy Hubbard. My granddaddy, Jim Hubbard. Yes, sir.
Stop.
Yes, sir. We just found this out about 3 years ago.
Stop it.
Rudy Hubbard, baby. Yes, sir.
What?
Yes, sir.
Rudy Hubbard.
Rudy Hubbard, the man now. Hey,
Woody Hubbard, I know that.
Rudy Hubbard.
I was in college. I was in college when Rudy came to Florida A&M.
Listen,
and put us on the right track.
Hey, you know, I'm good friends with Nate Newton. He called me Coach Sexy. That's my dog. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Nate Newton was a FMU alum. Yeah.
Yes, he was. But man, when you say, I mean, for people in the state of Florida or around Tallahassee, you say Rudy Hubbard, man, you said a mouthful. To say that your great uncle, it's like he said his great uncle was Rudy Hubbard. Man, Rudy Hubbard came from Ohio State as a young coach, very young coach. He got Florida A&M back on track.
Listen, bro, Mr. Kitchens, he coached with the legendary Woody Hayes.
That's right. So again, here's a guy like him coming, and he came to FAMU in '74. By the time he got 5 years in, he had won the first ever Division I AA championship. I mean, in 5 years.
5 years.
You know, and the quarterback we had at that time, he's legendary because Al Chester, man, that guy was, like you said, a team of destiny. Ray, we playing Bethune-Cookman. We got a 4th down and about 10 to go, and they flush him out the park at 30 yards backwards. He scrambles, and he gets a 1st and goal inside the 5, and they go on to win the game. We were down 17-0 at the half.
Wow. And
he made that big play, and that took us to the playoffs. And the next week, we played Grambling. We lost our starting running back. He was the first 1,000-yard rush in the season running back. We lost him. He broke his ankle. So now we're getting ready to go into the 1AA playoffs against Jackson State. And we was out. I was starting running back. And they asked Rudy, they said, well, coach, you without your top running back? Calmly and coolly, he said, well, we still got a few ponies in the stable. I'm like, What does that mean? And he unleashed a sophomore running back by the name of Mike Solomon, and Mike Solomon destroyed the University of Massachusetts, man. Destroyed him. So yeah, you said a mouthful, man. Oh, you don't hit another grand slam talking about Rudy Hubbard. Hey, Ray, stick with me. I'm gonna take a quick time out. We're gonna come back. Joining me tonight, phenomenal guy, Ray Isaac, from a former quarterback at Youngstown State, a product of Youngstown, Ohio. Now got his guru status going with teaching guys quarterbacking and the skills of that. So he's our guest tonight. So stay with us. We're gonna jump on that. But before we get back to Ray, let me tell you, as we've been doing since we started this program, make sure that if you're looking for the right gear to get dressed out, decked out in for your particular college, especially from an HBCU, call the folks over at the Anthony Lawrence Collection. They got all the gear that you can think of. They're constantly coming up with new items. So call them up or check them out on their website at anthonylawrencecollection.com. Go through their gallery of products. See if you can find something you like. That's the Anthony Lawrence Collection at anthonylawrencecollection.com for all the HBCU gear. And they are steadily improving their line of products to also include major colleges throughout this country. The Anthony Lawrence Collection. Then, if you are interested in getting a copy of the book, because This book that was written by myself a couple of years ago is a phenomenal book that we're asking you to check out. You can get a copy of it. Go to our website at Quarterfi Back, quarter PHI back, quarterfiback.com. Click on the book icon and you can find out all the information you need to do about the book, The Forgotten QBs, because it will give you some of the historical information about Black quarterbacks from 1903 to 1990. Oh, by the way, we've already started working on the second edition of The Forgotten QBs, and we're hoping to have that out within the next 2 years, if not sooner. And that book will be even more phenomenal. And let me tell you, I forgot him the first time, but I won't forget him the second time. Ray Isaac definitely will be in that edition. It's The Forgotten QBs, written by me, W. Earl Kitchings. Get your copy. Go to our website at Quarterfi Back. And then finally, we got a new sponsor, and I hadn't got a chance to put up his information on the screen yet, but I want to tell you all about him. He's located here in Jacksonville, Florida. Outstanding young man. If you're watching the show tonight and you live in Jacksonville and you need to get your home inspected for insurance purposes or for mold and mildew, call True Definition. Antoine Richardson is the owner of True Definition. Call him at 413 True, and he'll come out and give you a great job on inspecting your home to make sure that it's in perfect condition, so that if you have to change insurance companies or you're worried about mold or mildew, he'll come out and give you a great checkup and make sure that you are in line. So that's True Definition, home inspections and mildew and mold inspections. Antoine Richardson. Getting back to our show tonight, man, I got to tell you, this is a phenomenal guy. We're joined by the great Ray Isaac, former quarterback at Youngstown under Jim Tressel, led him to a 1AA championship in 91. Hey, Ray, you talked about, like I said, you hit a grand slam. You said your great uncle is Rudy Hubbard. You're from Ohio. You're doing so many things. What was it like growing up in Youngstown, Ohio, for you as a young high schooler in those days? How was that temperature for you playing up there during that time?
Youngstown, Ohio, is a hotbed for talent. I don't know if you remember the great Ted Bell at Michigan State, the great Mike Zordich at Penn State, the De Niro brothers, Garcia Lane.
Okay.
Those guys, Dennis Mosley, running back, 1977, led Iowa in rushing. Terry Taylor, the first round draft pick of the Seattle Seahawks, played at Southern Illinois.
Okay.
Morrow brothers, Dwayne, Vince, the older brother, was at Wisconsin. The Mike Stoops, the Bob Stoops, the Mark Stoops, the Bo Pellinis, the Clarettes, the Boone Herons, the Corey Stringers, the Omar Provitz, these are all NFL guys, right? And this is a hotbed for football. They call it the Steel Valley, and the Youngstown City Series. J.C. Penney, the running back from University of Miami. So growing up as a young man, and I played at Youngstown Rand. They were a perennial basketball power. Youngstown South, Youngstown East, Youngstown Cardinal Mooney, Youngstown Ursuline, Youngstown Wilson, Youngstown South High School. So the city series was a tremendous bloodbath. It was an absolute, bloodbath, man. And then you had Austintown Fitz, the Boardman Spartans, and Cheney Cowboys. So like any other city, it's you have your black areas, your white areas, suburban areas, the inner cities. But as a young man, I was allowed to have the rites of passage. There was some gangs, there were some people that, but I was allowed to, because I was that hope you know.
Gotcha.
And one thing they did was that when you make it, you come back. And so it was wonderful because I got to see some of the greatest high school games. I got to play in some of the greatest high school games, and I got to play against some of the greatest high school players and former NFL players. So it was a great time to be in Youngstown, Ohio.
Well, I got a copy of the newsletter that I have done, Ray, and it highlights you, not just not the quarterbacks from Youngstown. I'll be doing one of those, but I wanted to highlight you because of what you had done and what you're doing. And the title, the headline to it is Isaac led Penguins to a national title, and it talks about you and a couple of pictures in there and your stats, man. And when did you know, Ray, that quarterback and being a quarterback, when did you know that that's what was your calling? When did you know that?
Man, I could throw the ball, man. I could throw the ball. When I was a little boy, I would throw the kickoff for the older kids.
Okay. We lost you. I think you're on mute, Ray.
Old dudes on the porch.
Okay.
And I didn't know nothing about the old dudes on the porch. And I ain't know nothing about no Joe Gillum. And I know nothing about no 747.
I
But
got you.
those guys, those were the names they called me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Jefferson Street Joe, and 747. And so as they begin to say those names, I begin to do research and say, okay, they quarterbacks. Doug Williams, you know what I'm saying? Warren Moon,
Yeah.
all of them, yeah. Yep. So, yeah,
Well, if
I've been, you know what? I told somebody yesterday at the football camp, I've been a quarterback for 47 years.
yeah,
I'm
that's a
54
lot of
years old.
grind.
Yeah, I've been in quarterback for 47 years.
Well, you've been grinding a long time, my friend, and
Yes, sir.
I know it's paid off because I know that those young men that you're working with are getting some real lessons, some real teachings, and things of that nature. So, for this amount of time, Ray, you've had to see quite a few quarterbacks. If you could just identify who you think are some of the top quarterbacks that you have ever seen, give us a couple of names that you would say, man, those guys were some of the best I've ever seen.
So I have a cousin by the name of Tony Donaldson. Tony Donaldson was the best I'd ever seen. He was my first cousin. And so I chased Tony. I wanted to be better than Tony. And when I did that, then that's when I became the upper echelon. I didn't see I saw some great high school quarterbacks, James Stanford, Youngstown East, Andre Ballinger, Youngstown South. Those guys played quarterback at Youngstown State, ended up playing behind me and moving to wide receiver, both of them.
Okay.
But in person, Warren Moon. Warren Moon
Warren
was
Moon.
my guy. Warren Moon.
Got you.
Warren Moon had the
Warren
best
Moon.
spiral in the history of the game. I don't know who can throw a better spiral than Warren Moon to ever play. I went on a college visit and watched Tony Robinson at Tennessee.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
The
sir.
in person, the real
Yes, sir.
deal. Uh, Tony uh, Tony Rice went to a
Yes,
game at
sir.
Notre Dame. Saw Tony Rice. So
Okay.
the best I had ever seen uh, in person. Yeah, I can't say Bernie. Bernie won games he wasn't supposed to win through, through, through passes he wasn't supposed. Hey, but Bernie got it done. Bernie got it done,
And
man.
that's all that matter, Ray.
That's
That's
all
all
that
that matter,
matters.
getting it done.
Bernie got
Getting
it
it done.
done, man. Yeah, so those are some of the greatest I've ever seen. Oh, I watched the game in person. Randall Cunningham.
There you go.
Randall Cunningham. Without question, was before his time. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, I would agree.
yeah,
I
if
would agree.
Randall was in this day and age, he'd be the most unstoppable quarterback of all time.
And for a guy to be that size and to have that kind of mobility, plus he could throw and run the way he did, yeah, you're right. I would agree with that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So when you are watching games, and I know you probably kind of zero in on quarterback, what are the things you are looking at to see if a guy really needs to have somebody to work with them, or they're not doing some of the fundamental things that make for a good quarterback? What are you looking at?
I think in the last 8 years, I don't know who has. Um, I'm looking for throwing the ball on schedule, accuracy, velocity, the command of the offense. One of the things that Jim Tressel um, always told me, and it allowed me to flourish in the telling of our relationship, was take what they give you. And so
Okay.
there was nothing wrong with throwing a 5-yard dump pass. There was nothing wrong with throwing the ball to the flats and keeping the drive alive. So as a quarterback, you got to have a mental template in your mind. So I teach my quarterbacks now, read the coverage, read the concept, understand the conflict, understand the check down. Put this eternal template in your head so that you can always play quarterback at a high level. So once they do the important things, um, you know, so I look at a lot of things. I look at the structure of the throw, how they're reading, where their eyes are going, the concept of the play. Are they understanding the concept of the play, and so forth? So there's a lot of shoddy quarterback play, but there's a lot of excellent quarterback play.
Ray, when you were in college, man, I know, just and they do this at college and the pro levels, you got to read that playbook, you got to learn those plays. Mastering that particular skill set, man, of knowing all the plays, not just a few of the plays, but knowing all the plays so that whenever the coach called that play, he knew he could count on you for knowing the plays. What kind of uh, what kind of thing must you have inside of you to really want to just delve into learning that playbook from front to back, back to front?
The best playbooks are the playbooks that make sense,
Okay.
that have a rhyme or reason, that have methods to it, that have equations to it. Everything that Coach Tressel predicated our offense on was the number 9. So if I ran to the left, it was 21 21 Dave. To the right, it was 28 Dave. If I went
Okay.
24 ISO to the right, I went 25 ISO to the left. If I went 33 dive to the 36 dive to the right, 33 dive to the left. Everything was predicated on the number 9, and so therefore, if the play wasn't front side, if I wanted to go 33 dive and they had a one technique, I would go 33 36,
Okay.
33 36, or I would go Ohio Ohio. So whatever I called in the play in the huddle, when I went Ohio, we gonna run it to the opposite side. So that was the gist of it. And then he numbered the concepts. 84 wide shallow, 85 wide shallow, 82 top, 87 top, 83, 86 flat curl combination. You know what I'm saying? So the simplicity of um, uh, the way you learn an easy offense is to have it the simplicity of it um, put together.
Okay. Before I move on to talk about your passion, um, give me your thoughts about pro black quarterbacks in the NFL in this day and time, from your viewpoint. What do you think about these guys nowadays?
Man, I wish that they had the Steve McNair effect. What do I mean? Steve McNair came out, and even the Michael Vick effect. Dan Reeves had Michael Vick first. I forget who had Steve McNair, but those two cats had to sit behind another
Jeff
quarterback.
Fisher. Jeff
Jeff
Fisher
Fisher.
over there. Yeah.
They had to sit behind uh, quarterbacks before they emerged, right? There was a
Right.
1 year sitting, right? So when Steve
Yeah.
McNair came on the scene, I saw Steve McNair's offense at Youngstown State. They came down. Steve McNair was in the running for the Heisman,
Right.
and he went 52 of 80, 582, and 3 touchdowns against Youngstown State, and they ended up losing like 42-14. And I saw a very basic offense, and
Yeah.
um, you know, uh, but the black quarterback today, the C.J. Strauss, is prepared. Bryce Young was prepared, but he didn't go to the right team. So
Gotcha.
just like anything else, styles make fights. The Bryce Young is not a Carolina Panther quarterback per se.
Okay.
Bryce Young should have been somewhere where Baker Mayfield is. You know what I'm saying? Where you have a run
Gotcha.
game, you had two big time receivers or three big time receivers, you have an offensive line to give you time, and so forth. So it's about styles make fights. CJ Stroud had a running game, had a defense, had a black uh, uh, coach. The alignment, the stars aligned greatly for him. Justin Fields is not a bad quarterback. He is a very good quarterback, and
Absolutely.
um, they're going to make him good. But he'll probably learn from Russell and get a chance to play, and he'll flourish with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's not that black quarterbacks are bad. Look at Geno Smith. Geno Smith, for example, is a tremendous quarterback. But guess what? He took his bumps and his bruises for the Jets. That wasn't a great style, right? And then he
Yep.
went to the Giants. What a great fit. Now all of a sudden, he plays so good, they move Russell Wilson out and bring him up, and now he's had 2 Pro Bowl seasons in a row. But guess what?
Yeah.
He was the first round draft pick of the New York Giants out of West Virginia. So it's about styles make fights. Just like Mac Jones. Mac Jones went to the wrong team. Mac Jones
Gotcha.
is a good quarterback, and they're gonna show you that he's a good quarterback. But he went to the wrong team,
Well,
So
I,
styles.
I agree with you. I agree because the system that a guy goes to, and I think Justin Fields was not the good fit for Chicago. But when these teams, you know, see these guys on the board and they the top guys, it's almost like they're obligated in a way that they got to draft this guy no matter what. But that's what happened to him. So now Justin Fields is moving on to Pittsburgh to play with Russell Wilson. So
Right.
now let's talk a little bit about your true passion, man. Let's talk a little bit about this sniper school that you have started and you do on a daily basis. Talk to us about what you're doing with these young men and what this passion is that you have now.
Well, I've had a passion a long time. Was really good is that I'm evolving. I was real stubborn about my way or the highway.
Gotcha.
And there are other guys out there doing different stuff, right? So I had to get a niche. I wasn't about to do the off platform. That's not my niche. My niche is
Okay.
velocity and accuracy. And so I
Gotcha.
studied some of the best other quarterback trainers. It's like this, man. Um, I had to evolve. Uh, do you have the 2011 Windows application on your
I believe I
computer?
do.
Do you have the
Yeah.
2012?
I'm not sure about the 12. I'm sure I got the 11.
What about the 17?
I'd have to check with someone to make sure that's on my computer, man. That's one of those things that kind of, I don't think a lot about it, but
What,
I'll
what,
check into it, Ray. What you need me to do?
no, I was giving you I was making a point.
Oh, okay.
Um, as the computer changes and
Yeah.
updates,
Yeah.
my training had to update.
I got you.
There was
I got
some there was some quarterback coaches who preferred certain things that I wasn't agreeing with, but
you. Mm-hmm.
that ain't got nothing to do with me. I didn't play for Jim Tressel, so ain't nobody
Right.
playing. I ain't going to play with nobody. Ain't nobody give me no scholarships. So I better start teaching some things that these people want, and that's where I've evolved. and I don't agree with everything, so I don't teach everything. Jim Tressel said something very, very powerful to me. He said, whenever you go into coaching, the great coaches teach it things they don't believe. I said, what? He
Gotcha.
said, you're going to be under a coach that's not going to like that particular method. He's going to believe in this method. He's going to believe in the rocker step, and you believe in the zero step. And you're going to have to do what he wants you to do. And that's where I'm at now. I love kids. I don't want them to make the same mistakes I made. I don't want them to be arrogant. I don't want them to be flamboyant. I want them to be hard workers, and I want them to be able to make a living for their family outside of football by getting their education and becoming the best athlete and the best football player they can possibly be. So the most important thing for me is to give them the necessary tools that they need to be successful, whether it's on the field or off the field. Whether it's leadership, whether it's coachability, whether it's stamina, whether it's accountability, reliability, poise, whatever. I want to make sure that our quarterbacks are prepared to be game ready for college football.
So Ray, tell parents and tell our viewers, how could they get and how can they get in touch with you if they're interested in having their son work on his skills as a quarterback? How can somebody get in
Well,
touch with you?
they can inbox me at the Sniper School on Instagram, the Sniper School, and you'll see me there. And then on Twitter, you can do the Ray Isaac School on Twitter, and the Sniper School local will show up. And then my email address is HIGH impact IMPACTQB09 at Gmail. And so you can also call me at 919-917-6509. And I will pick up the phone and train your auntie if you want me to for that flag football league. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I got you.
they,
Well,
they,
Ray, now the quarterback in school, is that a part of your foundation?
I don't have a foundation. I'm putting together a foundation, but
Okay.
it's part of the Sniper School. But I did have a foundation years ago called the MKECA Foundation, the MKECA Institute for Youth and Community Development, and I had put that together. MKECA means foundation in Swahili, but
Okay.
yes, I did have that a long time ago.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that if anybody has a young up and coming football player that they think might have some skills at the quarterback position, how they can get in touch with you, because I have watched several of your Instagram clips and I'm so impressed. That's why, man, when I first saw the clip of you, I was like, okay, that guy looks like he's teaching. So every time I saw one, I would stop and run. And I'm like, man, that guy is teaching some good stuff. But I could never figure out who is this guy. So when I finally figured out who you were, I was like, I got to get in touch with him. So every time I see a clip that comes on Instagram, man, I stop and look. And before the show, we were talking about this one skill you were teaching them. You called it the hypotenuse effect. Share that with everybody a little bit before we close everything out.
Well, when a quarterback puts the base of his back foot, the low step I call it, it goes up, and then you have your front toe points to the target. If you draw a line between the base and the top toe, the hypotenuse is the line that goes from the base to the top of the and I just found out science, man. I just looked at science and like that's a hypotenuse. I said, listen, if you extend the hypotenuse, then you're going to lose power. But if you get to the hypotenuse and then equip it with centrifugal force, so I have a saying that we're going to use science so we can't use it no more, and then we're going to go to manual labor. So we go from science to manual labor. And if we can connect it at the right time, it'll create a perfect spiral.
Well, all I can say, Ray, is I've watched it. I'm very impressed because the mechanics that you drill these young people with. I'm watching every time I see you throw a ball, I'm looking at your mechanics, and your mechanics are the same every time I watch you deliver the ball.
Yes,
And
sir.
I'm looking at it because you deliver it the same way, but there's always, it seems like that same velocity that you're delivering it with. So your mechanics, it's like, man, if you just do this repetitiously, you will become better over time, but you have to do it the same way, following the same steps. You can't deviate, because once you deviate, now we got to go back and retrain you. So your methods, man, are phenomenal.
I appreciate that. I tell my quarterbacks, what's the shortest distance between 2 points? They say a straight line. I said, so why you throwing the ball across your body?
It
Right?
makes sense.
I call that front toe the GPS. So what you do after you follow through, you bring that arm down in between your crotch in the area of your toe, because that's the GPS. So anyway,
Gotcha.
there's a lot of things that I tell quarterbacks. You said repetitiously. I have a old saying, and that saying is um, repetition, visualization equals unconscious competence. If you do it over and over, you visualize it, it becomes unconscious to you. And so that's what I want quarterbacks to be. I don't want them to be thinkers. I want them to be instinctive, and I want them to be able to um, master their techniques, their strategies, their concepts, and all that stuff.
Well, Ray, continue to do what you're doing for these young people, man. I know you're a phenomenal teacher and a coach. Thank you so very much for being with us tonight, man. You have definitely made a major impact on me, and I hope you're making a major impact on our viewers, because you are one of the best there are, man. Thank you so very much for joining us, and we're looking forward to bringing you back at a future time, man. Hopefully during football season, when we can really talk to you about some
Man,
football.
we got. I was talking to Joe and Woody. We got to do a panel one day, like Peyton Manning and his brother do. Just watch a
Okay.
game on one of your podcasts, man. Just watch a game and have two or three of us just making the comments about, that would be fun.
Well, you called it, coach, and we're going to make that happen. So be on the lookout for it. But again, thank you again, Ray, for joining us tonight. And God bless you and your family, man, and continue to do good work for everybody.
I appreciate that. And your producer, tell her I said hi. Thank you very much. Everything went well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, that was the one, the only, the phenomenal Ray Isaac. So we are again happy to have brought you this show tonight here on the Post Route. Now we want to let you know that if you are interested in becoming a supporter of the Post Route, we now are launching 2 different ways for you to do that. You can become a supporter by Zealing us $4.40. Zeal is 904-994-2189. That's our Zeal contact number if you want to send us your contribution via Zeal. If you want to become a teammate, and the teammate will include you getting your decal that you are seeing there. You get your certificate of being a member of Quarterfied Back, and you will get your Quarterfied Back t-shirt, all for $44. So don't forget about us. Support us, help us out, make something happen, and send us that support mechanism as soon as you can. That's Zeal 904-994-2189 to be a teammate of Quarterfied Back and the Post Route. That's going to just about do it for me tonight, folks. I have enjoyed having my man Ray Isaac on, the former quarterback at Youngstown State University, who led them to a national championship. Currently one of the main clogs in the sniper school of quarterbacks, teaching and mentoring young men on how to be not only just great quarterback, but how to be phenomenal individuals. We want to thank everyone for joining in tonight. We hope that you will tune in for next week's show. We have another phenomenal guest with us next week, and we are always looking for more quarterbacks that we can bring onto the Post Route. For my social media director, Mr. Kemal Lazier, and my producer and director, Ms. Ronleen Kennedy, thank you so very much for all you do in making this show happen. And until next Monday night here at 7 o'clock on the Post Route, I'm W. Earl Kitchings saying, go deep, go for the bomb. Take care, everybody.